Hello, my friends. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat as I say hello to Peter and hello to K-Doc who've joined us for the start of the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. As soon as I get the go-ahead from you that the audio is indeed broadcasting out, then I'll flick over to the intro screen. Great, can hear you. Excellent, nice one. Starting now then. So, well, that's that wee starting bit. We don't need to wait for the whole 5 minutes to run through though, so straight over here to the starting thing. Hello everybody, is Bitcoin going up the way and therefore you should buy sooner rather than later? Or is Bitcoin going to crash on down the way? Could you be looking at possibly even a 60% discount in the price that you're paying for Bitcoin if you're able to pick it up in at around about that 8 to 9k level? So the question for today, in terms of the Bitcoin technical analysis, will be when should I buy? And let's see if we can at least bring some clarity to that, whether or not, of course, we actually can give you the exact answer or not. Now, I am a little bit worried as well, actually, just before we really kick off the stream here, with regards to this microphone positioning. I think that I've kind of worn it down over the last few days with knocking it over, and I think if I touch it a couple of times here, then we might have another disaster in store for us. And let's just jive on over to the live scene. As we can see here that K-Doc is claiming 24k in 2 days. Well, there you go. Horn Hunter, Peter, good to see you there as well. And Zoner, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. If everybody could hit that like button, it'd be awesome. And as well, actually, in today's episode, a little bit of fun for us all. What we're going to try and do is put together an advert for the channel. Okay, so we'll get around to talking about that in a wee bit, but just, you know, let your juices start flowing on that one, and we'll be doing it together in this live video. So cool, jumping on over to the live scene. I'll let the intros run as it gives me 10 seconds to fiddle around with the microphone. Okay, well, we're back and essentially operating with a a faith-based system essentially on the microphone, and that's got rid of the chicken there. Nice to see you across Canada. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you, Zoner, K-Doc, Peter, and of course Horn Hunter. Today's episode is going to be about whether or not it's a good time to buy with regards to everything that we look at. And what we'll be doing in today's show is taking a look at Bitcoin and then Ethereum and then Chainlink and then Tezos, I suppose, probably in that order, as we kind of flick between this and Bitcoin. And then we can as well make this advert. So you'll be curious to know what that's all about, and I'll bring you up to speed with that in a wee while. On the charts at the minute, I've simplified things down quite a fair bit. As you'll see here, we have the 200 dotted line, that's showing us the 200 simple moving average, the 50 dotted line here, this red one, and that's showing us the 50 simple period moving average, and this more intense green colored line in the background, that is the 18 period exponential moving average. And that's what I think we'll probably use to kind of form most of our technical analysis for this evening. Going to keep things nice and clear as much as possible. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't look at oscillators. Every so often I'll be bringing up these ones down below, and it doesn't mean that we can't look at other things such as the Bollinger Bands and whatnot, as my faith in my microphone stand wavers slightly there. And we can do all of that as well, and we can change the moving averages around, but the thrust of what we'll be talking about really is going to just evolve around those two microphones, those two moving averages, and this exponential moving average here in the middle. And this is the 15-minute chart that's up behind, mostly just for entertainment purposes sake, but there are a few things we can actually learn just looking at this in terms of the recent downward movement that we've had since coming back up here into the 19,000s. Well, actually no, well, you know, since coming back up here into the low 18,000s, but kind of looking back the way since we had the previous drop down at the end of November, came up in our all-time highs at the high on the 30th and then the 1st of December. And then we've had this kind of downward movement, and every time along this way we've kind of been looking at it and saying, you know, at what point could we start to get a bit more positive on any chance of a resurgence or a turnaround, a rally towards the top side, because of course we were well prepared for any sort of bearishness that might have come into the markets, and we've been playing this in this direction mostly so far overall. And we can look at this 15-minute time frame and say, well, firstly, there's a few nodes on the VPVR of note to be looking to. Three really, I suppose, is just at this point here where we can point to, and I'm going to try and reduce the amount that I use the drawing tool here and leave more permanent artifacts on the chart as we go through things, but I will just draw in a couple of circles here just to show the nodes that I'm talking about for clarity. So there's those three areas there, and they're showing us that we're looking at where we are just now in terms of can this operate as support up from where, you know, the next sort of area which we might have found inflection at in the past and then therefore could again, it's coming at 18,800, and then the next area at 19,200, and I think that really does sum up where the prices have been over the last few days. The hope that came in at around about this area for an immediate turnaround based off of looking at things like this low and this low here and asking about whether or not we have indeed on the 24-hour time frame, as I zoom on in, a descending triangle and whatever, you know, just for the immediate turnaround was forsaken as we went down to visit this upward sloping trend line. Now this upward sloping trend line, by the way, is the lower half of what could be an ascending broadened wedge or whatever. It doesn't matter, a channel or any of that sort of stuff. Also, I suppose it depends if you're looking at this at log and whatever, but this is back on linear again now. But this is where we found our support at, and that is a big question being answered in a sense, in terms of, yes, we're still in this mode, we're in the upward movement, and until such times as we break this line, then we can remain fairly positive on it. However, of course, you know, our conviction on that gets tested frequently as we move towards this line here, and it comes in with a couple of key areas for us. For instance, right now we're looking at this this more visible pink line, and then this slightly faded one. That's the golden pocket zone there on the Fibonacci retracement. If you're looking at the lows that we had there just before the all-time highs, that sort of whiplash movement that we put in, that came in with bearish divergence and a decrease in volume at those highs overall, with this then subsequently sort of bearish pattern. Now, could we come back up then and actually re-challenge this pattern, and have we got something to look at in terms of the horizontal? And we certainly do, and that's signified with that golden pocket zone really for us in terms of movements down outside the area of where you could draw that triangle in at. I suppose I could stick it on the charts here so that you can see what we're talking about, although I don't think that there's a massive amount of need to have this kind of, you know, thinking, you know, too much here dominating our thoughts overall when we can see the clear horizontal levels and everything else anyway. But we're looking here between these two areas. That's the 50% here is where the bright one is, and then the golden pocket starts here on this faded pink line. I should have been a bit more clear with what I was saying earlier on. I'll just stick it in again here so you can see. Right, there you go. So there's a little bit there where the golden pocket is. We came actually right down there and just kissed it lightly, gently, and then ran away again thereafter. So this is really kind of where we're at, and we find ourselves currently being resisted by the 18-period exponential moving average, if you like, here on the daily time frame. So if we do move back up above this zone of the 18,500 area, where we're kind of coming in and challenging currently as we speak, then of course we could be looking towards upside, and maybe that would be helped along the way by any potential sort of inverse head and shoulders that you could see here in the 15-minute time frame, to get us back in, you know, and away again from that triangle, which is now visible in the background with regards to this shaded area. So we have made it back in again. We did come down to that golden pocket area, and that sums up what we've been looking at. So our real area of concern for risk comes in at this 50% line, and at around about 18k naturally, of course. Then the next area thereafter is that 17,600. Now, taking that out is obviously going to be quite significant and can lead to further downside price action thereafter. Now, we did overall extend the sort of the PRZ, if you like, in terms of the massive movement towards the top side when we eventually did put in our all-time highs, taking out, you know, more or less the ascending wedge tightening wedge that we had on the chart sort of target there with the general movement towards the top side. But I think we maybe slightly shot beyond that PRZ. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, it came in at around about that zone before moving down the way. And overall, the general idea for retracements on this can be summed up fairly easily if we were to break down the way to kind of try and answer that question. So going back up towards the 24-hour time frame, what do we see first off? Well, if we take out the 50 period simple moving average, that comes in lined up with our previous lows. Okay, so that's the first sort of confluence you'd be breaking beyond the scope of what we've been looking at so far for the duration of the episode. Now, of course, that could be a catalyst for doing that, or the fuel that you could be looking for doing that could come as a result of breaking this pattern properly with a movement towards the downside in terms of that triangle that we had on there as well, and coming in and really testing that. Now, if we test that and move on beyond it, obviously things get a little bit more taste delicious. If we look towards, for instance, this upward sloping resistance line that we had on before, can we push down past that and go on down the way? Now, there'd be various ways of measuring towards the downside, different targets, and of course we're all fans of lots of different ones of them, but just to put a little bit of context then on what we're looking at, if we did see a movement towards the downside, would be to just, for instance, take it from that low of the descending broadening wedge that we had there up towards our highs that we had, and just line up with that other Fibonacci and look towards the key areas of what would a 50% retrace look like. Well, that would come in at around about 12,000 or so. And then what would the golden pocket on this one look like? And that would be bringing you into around about this area just here where we had the inflection after the summer of joy, and then in the retracement down here we put in a higher low, and that actually remains really as our most significant low in this entire period in the whole run up, other than the one that we'd be taking out along the way there. Now, you could look towards these other areas where we had pullbacks. Sure, okay, you could look towards it, but really just stick this back on logarithmic so it kind of pushes things together a wee bit. The big flow of the markets, we came up, flowed up towards here, flowed up towards this area, flowed up towards, and you wouldn't say that we had any significant lows thereafter. So that is the next area you'd be looking down to. That would obviously be taking out the 200 simple on this time frame. Now, that means that would be the first test of the 200 simple since the 11th of May. That wouldn't be too extraordinary to see. And then you could be going back towards looking at the macro trend. Now, if on the macro trend, if we did see a pullback in around this area, it would obviously comply with a retracement down towards where the Bollinger Band is that we've been harping on about since before the all-time highs. Well, on that same day, right? Whatever. Who cares? I'm not in this for accolades like that. You all watch along and know what you're getting yourselves into with this technical analysis. Whatever. We've been talking about it for a while with regards to that Bollinger Band. And if we want to then look to an easy target to come in with, maybe we could make a sort of little comparison between where we see these two EMAs. You've got the one that goes really tight to the prices here with the yellow line. That's the just make it a bit more visible for you here. That's, of course, the 8-period exponential moving average. We could come down and test that. That would come in at around about, price wise, we're talking 13,750. Pop that off, put that on the 18 period. Keep it looking down to 11,415. Depends on what sort of methodology you want to look at things. And looking here in terms of the previous high, not taking this area out and looking at it as regards to where you could see your next low. That's that 12,000 area, which is that 50% Fibonacci retracement. And really, it's all about what floats your boat at this stage if you're looking for a huge discount in the price that you're paying per BTC. Now, of course, what then do we need to see happen for things to go towards the top side? You're crying out for, I'm sure you are, somewhere out in the world, because hey, let's not get too carried away, and let's also just draw in comparison, sort of for the comparison point here. This lows, let me just hide the moving out. I'll leave the moving averages on as we make this point. These two lows that we've just had here, right? So we just had a low. Okay, let's acknowledge that we've just had one. And we've moved up in a way that's almost got a tweezer bottom type candle shape formation here, with where we find the opens and closes, and then of course right in towards the top side afterwards. And that's looking quite good so far. Is it a local low? Well, tentatively we can say that it is. Let's get a sort of bit of context on here for us so that we can say this. Just looking down the way towards where this came in at, we can see that since we moved up and closed above that area where the mouse is at just now, that's where the 236 is on that Fibonacci retracement, coming in then and opening up the opportunity for movements towards the top side thereafter, yada yada, etc. We've also so we've got this, we've taken out 236 in terms of these lows, not the body though, I should really do it body to body. Let me just draw this in body to body, then interrupt my flow for a second, just so I can be really, you know, more fair with what I'm saying just now. So the 236 on this one comes in at this point over here. So I'll just make this a bright yellow so you can see that, of course, or a dull yellow I should say. You can see that, of course, we're above that just now in this current position. And so I would like to say that this is a local low so far, tentatively. Of course, we've not done the sort of the confirmation point of that by taking out our previous sort of lows and the highs on the way down here, etc., etc. But, you know, we could say that in that case, bringing up the oscillators down below, what you can see is that there's potentially this case to be made for, no, not an RSI. I was going to say for hidden bullish divergence. You could make the case for us in terms of the DMI here. Don't like really doing that so much. Maybe we could look for that somewhere else. What about the MACD? Yeah, so we have these two lows coming in here. That is actually lower than it. What about that one over there? No, we don't have hidden bullish divergence, so that's not a positive for us. Well, we had to do the research, didn't we? Shame I didn't go all nice and flowy with the chat, but yeah, hiding those things off. I said I wasn't going to look at them too much. That's the most positive case is kind of structure. We haven't taken out our lows. Okay, so looking back the way and making a comparison between these two sort of lows, then we've done the sort of divergence aspects of the lows. By the way, making the point over here that this is actually an upward trend. So if I was looking between these two lows, I'd be looking for hidden bullish divergence, right? You know, as opposed to looking down the way here and looking for bullish divergence as part of this downward trend that we've been in since the all-time high. Okay, just to make that clarity point for people who, you know, want that clarity when they're getting education. So looking back, what did I want to find? I wanted to find this area kind of over here and just kind of talk about a couple of things. 200 simple, exponential, 200, all the moving averages were well above us as we crossed down through this point here, and we then, you know, came in and retested them and whatnot there, this 4-hour time frame. Over here you can see that we've come in and we've not actually tested at that point, and we've not tested it here, but we have, you know, gone through the 50. So there's an extension away from the 200 and the 50, kind of a bit of that old expansion there for us in terms of the prices upwards, getting a bit extended then in that sense. We didn't have that as brutally at that point there. You know, we caught up and then broke down as a result, but then found our footing again. So I'm wondering about this in terms of whether or not it really is the actual proper low to be looking at, and that would be my summation for the episode, really, just to zoom on in here in terms of the Bitcoin section, because we will be going on to look at Ethereum, Chainlink and all that when we get round to it. I suppose for people, a rough schedule: in 5 minutes we'll be looking at Ethereum, in 15 minutes we'll be looking at Chainlink, in 25 minutes, 20 minutes we'll be looking at Tezos, roughly. You know, if suggestions come in before then, that's all good. We can kind of just manage them on a first come first serve basis. Thanks everybody for joining me, by the way. Hit that like button and all that good stuff, and I'll check in with you in the chat in a wee while and give everybody shout outs for joining us. We have tested the 200 simple just now, so I suppose actually what I was saying before actually does make sense. You know, we've tested it just now. We didn't test it in this thrust down the way. We have tested it here. It comes in as a higher low. There isn't a massive amount of sort of surge in upward volume. We haven't seen the volume increase overall really as a result of this downward movement. You know, so this is all kind of just part and parcel of an uptrend. And structurally we're looking okay. We haven't taken out any of these lows. 24-hour time frame, you can see the same sort of story. You know, we're not getting this increase in volume quite yet, but then again, you know, we're right on the edge. If we see an increase in volume coming in as we drop down, confirmation that we're maybe looking at a bit of a reversal. If we see the volume actually then kick back in again when we move up, confirmation that, of course, you know, you're looking and asking questions about whether or not you'll be buying that Bitcoin at such a steep discount quite yet here on there. We'll have to wait for that discount pricing to come in. Now, if we did see movements towards the top side and you were looking for a couple of key areas to look to next, we've also kind of identified these already in the past, but let's just kind of just do it real quick again. Whoops. Hide everything for us just real quick then, and then we can do this. If I just hide stuff. So I was just going to stick in a couple of Fibonacci's there and look towards their extension points. Nothing major, you know, in terms of what we're looking at. Want to hide these Fibonacci's here. So there's that one hidden. Could take a Fibonacci between that high and that low there, or indeed between this high and this low, and just look to where, you know, you could be looking up for. So let's just do it and call it, since, you know, this direction, since we've talked about this and the validity of whether or not this could be a low, and working off the basis of that assumption being worth something. Let's get some rough ideas about extension points, you know. So looking up towards 1618, 2414 2168. We'll go 26 if I could speak. Then we look towards those areas. What am I doing here? Hope everybody's doing very, very well, by the way. I'm going to just remove all of these so I can actually see what I'm doing as I'm drawing it on, because it's not, I wasn't thinking properly there. It wasn't showing up, or I couldn't see it. I don't know if I was just blind to it, but I certainly didn't see these numbers coming in after I drew that one in and opened up the options. I don't know, whatever. So looking up the way, 21,187, 21,765 if you're just going for a simple extension up the way towards that zone. So it's maybe not accurate enough, but we're really talking 21,500 would be your 1618. Looking on beyond that, you're going to be up towards 20,500 or 25,000. So in terms of like movements up the way, if we do start surging up the way again and we're going into blue sky thinking territory again, because we have been up there and putting an all-time high, but where we've been ever since there, really in terms of a sort of time basis, has been, of course, 95% of that time has been in previous price action areas looking back the way. So if we do start looking up, up towards that target, that's 20%. So there's plenty of trading to be done in terms of like getting in and out and just choosing your tolerance levels thereafter. Okay, cool. So that's good enough for that one. We'll take a look at Ethereum in 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to see how everybody is doing. Good to see you then. Let's run through the names. I've already said hi to Peter, K-Doc and Zoner and Horn Hunter, and of course as well across Canada. Good to have you here. Nice to see you, Brandon. Good to see you there again regarding profit, and nice to see you talking to each other as well. 19,891 is a graveyard in the sky, said Zoner. That's funny. What's up, Outcropticians with $sign says, who let the bulls out? Good to have you here, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us again, and I hope you were getting a bit of value from that technical analysis. Let me know if you are or not. Nice to have you here, Urun Sarakoglu. Well, there we go. So are you saying buy or wait? Currently we're within this triangle formation yet again, having potentially put in a bottom, taking out our previous actual closing prices here in terms of the last on the 4-hour candles, but certainly at least in terms of closing below these points that we put in really and taking out our previous wicks here would start to give you great cause for concern. Looking down the way, if you want to play this the short side, movements past 16,000 are going to give you a steep discount. If you're actually going to be patient on this one and look towards the top side, then movements past 19,800 are where you would want to see volume coming in at, or else you'll most likely get a decent retrace at some point along the way for you to get in there with sort of your 10 to 20% savings. Now if you're looking for sort of 60% savings, then what you want to see is a bit of a cascade towards the downside, and of course the blood will be back on the streets at that point. Few key areas to be bearing in mind, for instance this orange upward sloping trend line at the 16,000 areas, but really want to taking out that lower low there, putting in a lower low, and then taking out 13,000, sort of 12,000 region there afterwards, where we've got a 50% Fibonacci retracement point, and then of course taking out the 10,000 area and going in for a fill on that CME. Now that would give you your best bet entry for an overall continuation of the macro upward trend if we were to be able to resume doing one, because moving beyond that point would be moving beyond the 618 of the retracement of the prior 9-month trend. Now you don't want to be doing that and then not managing to find yourself in a recovery position there afterwards, and that is what I'm saying to him. Now of course the advice essentially does boil down to down to patience is going to save you more money than you are liable to earn in the short term with the markets currently, regardless of the direction that it goes in a risk to reward basis. There's one outcome where you actually you win, and if you were to have taken that would have been earlier on at 17,600 area or on the incline back up the way, and that is kind of going to have to sum that up for you. Nice to see you here, Susie. Good to have you. 3,000 trin. Wow, it looks like it could fall to 15k, but I don't think Big Biz will let it anymore. Interesting perspective from 3,000 trin, kind of making reference to things like MicroStrategy et al, who have been investing in this recently. We've got people saying hi to each other, cool mate for instance, and stuff like that. Hey Rocky, I love your content, says Jack. Good to have you here, Jack. Thanks so much for coming along. I hope you hit that like button and everything else as well. And that's a brilliant answer, says TradeSpot, and I hope that's then to my buyer wait one. Yes, thanks so much for that. And I think that yes, of course, it's nice to have some vote of confidence on that one from somebody who I have confidence in myself. Nice to see you here, NCP 000139 9582 Chesney. What would you suggest to someone who's 100% in XTZ at $3? Is that right? Is that kind of what you're saying? Well, we'll get around to talking about that in a wee whiley, okay? Because we have got XTZ scheduled on for today's chat anyway. But we'll do that soon. So anyway, what we're going to do is move on to take a look at the Ethereum technical analysis in a minute or two. So let me just put well, if somebody wants to, I'll do it because people can see easier my name. I'll just say that we're roughly, how far into this thing are we? 26 minutes, so 25 mins is end of BTC chat. So BTC chat being on for first 25 mins of vid. If people are tuning in, okay? I like to do that to help people out. I know what it's like watching live streams. I've done it myself. You look for the answers as to where, people tune in. Have you done Bitcoin yet, etc.? That should help a fair deal with that. So, what is this advert chat that you're talking about, Rocky? Well, I tell you what, guys and ladies and gents, what we're going to be doing is coming up with a little idea for an advert. Now, I thought I would do something, splash the cash and put like 10 quid, I suppose, into pushing the channel on YouTube and see how that goes, right? And then, of course, invite you all back tomorrow to check in on the stats. Now, of course, it depends on the setup and everything else. I don't know if I'll necessarily have it, but the plan is to be able to check on the analytics and see how well that performed, right? And what the crack is with it. And I thought that what we'd be able to do, and I was researching this before starting, was I just see some chat. I'll catch up with the chat in a second. The idea was that I was going to put it on some videos. Like if you could choose a specific video to advertise on, I thought that would be a good laugh, and that we could do it together and come up with what to say. For instance, to people who are tuning in to watch Crown video or to tune in to watch Mitch Ray or something like that. However, that's not going to be an option. Instead, what we'll do is we'll just what we have to consider is that you, yourself, every single last one of you, and collectively as the Outcropticians, including myself, we are a community here and we're all actors in it with equal responsibility in terms of the community. So we're all together here in this one. How would we advertise to more of us, right? So what would you like to see in an advert? And then, of course, I'll run through it. I'll hit that little stream highlight bit, and then we'll extract the bit from this live video and use that as the advert. And you never know, you might even see it coming up yourself on YouTube as you go to watch one of these other people in the industry and all that sort of stuff. Could be a good laugh, right? And the idea, so the broad idea, and you can let this percolate in your brain whilst we look at Ethereum, is the broad idea is that I want it to be less than 30 seconds, right? Because the way the ads work on YouTube is you pay for the ad if it's longer than 30 seconds and people watch 30 seconds or more of it, or if it's shorter than 30 seconds and they watch the duration or they click on it, right? So that's those sorts of ideas. So I'm happy enough for people who click to pay on those ones, but really I want people who don't like the ad to kind of go away in the first 15 seconds, right? And then for them to, just go on with what they were going to do anyway and watch the video. Because I'm not a YouTube monogamist, so you know this already. I know that they're going to be going on and getting some great content, and I don't want to interrupt their flow too much, but at least it'll be a bit better than your man that goes, do you want to trade Forex like a pro? Because it made me a millionaire in my 20s. Do you know that guy that does that? I hate him. I love him. Great guy. Or, whatever these other adverts are that you see coming up. So anyway, I thought that would be a laugh and we could check in it. Good idea or not. I hope you enjoy with it. It could be fun. So I'll just look at the chat here for a second, make sure everything's going along. Wait, what is that slightly vertical pink line for? Sorry, forgotten. We're kind of too far away. Slightly vertical pink line. Going to have to catch up with you about that one later. Sorry, mate. Then I see, I think you need to hold up time numbers like the ladies used to at the rounds of boxing matches, so you can scan your vids and see easy. Yeah, you think so? I was trying to come up with some ideas about that myself, actually. So yeah, you're not wrong. I did already try this, by the way. I tried putting on a little ticker with the price. You know, it'd be down here below saying BTC, and then you could kind of flick through and find it. It's all just like, I don't know what the best answer is. Maybe those would be good. Advertise on Crypto and say, hey, you tired of clickbait, want quality TA, come over to the Rocky Outcrop. Okay, cool. So first off, right, we're not going to do anything negative, right? We're not going to do anything negative, nothing negative at all, right? So that's a veto on anything that's kind of coming from that disposition at all, right? Instead, it's all because, I mean, let's face it, that's cool that we know that that's the chat, and that's fine, and we all know that that's how it is anyway. But what does that appeal to you? Does that really appeal to you like that there? I'm not sure it does. I'm not sure that that sums up my audience or our community. I don't think that if somebody came in from the outside and they said, give me 10 words about the Rocky Outcrop community, they'd say, well, they're tired of all the clickbait they saw on Crypto. Yeah, cool, okay, that's an asset that we have here, and it's one of our USPs. But is it really, you know, the quality, is it not more to do with the quality of the TA and the community and the fun and the enjoyment that we have? And you know, why do you really tune in? It's not because I didn't write clickbait in the title, okay? Good one, though, for getting the ball rolling. And from now on, unless it's a negative idea, nobody's allowed to say no to ideas, you know? Okay, so whatever. Percolate on it, and I'll come back to you in a wee bit. In a wee bitty. Unless you think unless the general consensus from the community is, look, no, actually, Rocky, that is what you should be saying. Unless this should be the advert here, for instance. So you clicked on a video and then suddenly you see me and I say, hi, are you fed up of that clickbait? Come on over to Rocky Outcrop. We do TA there, and it doesn't have any of it in there. Catch you there soon. I'd be happy with that as an ad, right? It'd be a good laugh, you know. People then, and then that's it, right? That's the ad, okay? There you go. That's an example, but we'll work on it from now. We're going on over to Ethereum. You've taken up too much of my time with your advertising chat community. You have to get back to the TA. If you're just joining us, thanks for joining us. That's great. We're about to take a look at Ethereum. We looked at Bitcoin for the first 25 minutes of the video, came in, did a bit of chat. So now we're looking at Ethereum as 32 mins in. So I'm just going to write that. 32 mins in is ETH. There we go. That's cool, right? That's what. Oh, by the way, just seeing this as I typed that from 3,000 trillion. That's right. Good rule. Focus on the positive. We're doing this for fun, right? I'm saying I'm putting a tenner on to just look at and see, and it wouldn't be funny if any of you saw the ad, and you know, all of that. Just, it's for fun, right? And so we can see the impact that it has on the channel. There is the underlying idea that the channel's been, you know, I was joking, I was calling it 2K September. Do you remember that? Yeah, 2K September. We're at being above 19,900 subscribers now for a number of months. Okay, so there's obviously that, and that'll be funny to see if there is a benefit from it, but that's not it, right? Because if growing the channel is about this, I'd have done that months ago. This is for fun, right? Okay, so positive fun, okay, got it? Unless, as I say, that's not what we're all about. Maybe I don't really realize my own insipid nature. Let me know in the comments below if there's something I need to about that Vicary's window. Right, okay, so looking at the Ethereum price chart, thanks so much for joining me here to take a look at this together. And we have been talking about this for a wee while. Could we have had this ascending triangle on the go and whatever else? And does this then constitute a break of that? Have we then come back up into it? And is this then therefore not worth looking at in its own sort of a right? Let's just go with that as being the case to begin with and stop tarnishing our thoughts from vestigial price patterns. Instead, what we're going to look at is whether or not, first off, does this have any remaining relevance for us? Just as an overall kind of resistance line, maybe it does, and maybe taking it to 236 here and moving towards the top side. This is a 4-hour time frame. I'll go up to the 24 so we get this in a bit more sort of immediacy type of look in terms of the candles. Maybe moving up above this line here would be quite nice for us. Is that the roof, the glass ceiling on our aspirations currently? Well, maybe it is, and maybe we would see that having that positive effect. Maybe it continues to have a negative effect, and maybe we could also say to ourselves, well, if that's the case, maybe we could go clone that line and pop one down here below, and right out of the blue, what do you see? Well, it's a channel, ladies and gents, and that is a good question. Are we in a channel? Are we experiencing right now the resistance up above our heads here at at 236, at the 236, at 573, 575, whatever, in this region as being somewhat migraine inducing. Are we actually then going to slink away, subsequently not actually pushing past that resistance before, which did look a little bit arbitrary when I drew it in first off. I did that to kind of, you know, tickle you. And then, or will we find resistance there and pop back down the way? I wonder. We're seeing this operating, the prices operating above the 18 period moving average. You can see actually here's a pop on the 8, as I suspected we might be, that's also giving us a little bit of confidence in there at that 236. So that's our top side resistance for us. In terms of people who are looking for this to be an upward sort of movement, then what you're kind of going to have to look for is breaking that line, breaking the 236, taking out our previous high, and of course kind of disposing of the narrative of that descending triangle before, which we could have in effect broken back into. If you did watch the first 25 minutes of the show, you saw us talking about similar sorts of ideas in the Bitcoin one. Be aware that this idea that we're talking about here could easily be transposed over to that chart. Maybe you want to do that yourself and think about it from that point of view if we do see the downward trend. Now, of course, I wanted to be kind of positive overall with regards to that. It's going to be like either we go up or we're going a hella down. I didn't want to talk about some channel. But here we are, and then we'll be looking between these moving averages, and it does, like, you know, our areas for us are so ever so easy with regards to plotting this out with the resistance up above. If you're looking for two potential areas between this zone here, then you have our previous highs on the go. And I'll just stick a couple of horizontal serrated lines in here. There's a red one, big and thick, and then here is another one just here, kind of in that zone in and around about here. And then if we were then to take a Fibonacci between the top and the bottom, just to put everything into context, I'm not saying this is how everything has to go and this is the Lord, ruler, universe, whatever, then you can see that this first one here comes in at about that 618 golden pocket area. This one here would probably be about that 786 if you were to push on past it, and you can kind of then start to get the impression that if you don't turn around at the 786 or the 886, then of course you're looking, as you can see, then you're looking at, of course, potential for 100% retrace and then perhaps going on beyond it. So if we do want to look at upside targets, which is what we're kind of building up to here, as we did at the end of the Bitcoin video there, section, whatever, right, whatever, then you're looking towards the 1414 up here at $686, and then the 1618 up there at $715 as well. Nice to see you, Infinite. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to everybody who has joined us. Crypto, wow, check it out. Crypto, by the way, thanks very much for joining us here on the channel. Really do appreciate you tuning in. I wonder if that is indeed yourself there. Thanks everybody give him a big welcome. Of course, if you've watched the channel much, then you'll know that I often say that Chris from Crypto is perhaps the friendliest guy in all of YouTube cryptocurrency by, I don't know, by a million miles. So everybody give him, if that is indeed Crypto, or we've not got some bot in here, everybody give him a Rocky Outcroptician really nice warm welcome to the show, to the channel. Anyway, so what we're looking at here, if we do want to look towards the top side, is if, you know, we can maintain the prices above the 236, and we can see that the candle for today, of course, being the one that we've drawn the Fibonacci down to, of course, in the first place, down here at the 382, is kind of showing us that the body here is right on that 236, and that's quite clear. Then moving up past the 50% where we've had our wick coming in at, that's going to then really move us towards the top side potentially, with these two areas being your key areas to take out, and you'd be looking at a breakout from this particular movement. Now, do we have anything to suggest that that's actually likely to happen? We don't currently, right? That's purely speculative, but that would be if you're looking for the top side case to continue. Now, of course, the negative side case is that we'd pull away, like we were already saying, and go down past the 382 and then down to the 50% over here, and then our next area comes in at 476 where we have this 618 golden pocket retracement. It's a bot, says 3000 Trin. Nah, man, that's not him. Definitely scapper. Cool, whatever. There you go. That's the treatment that Chris would get from me if he were to join on the channel anyway. So there you go. We are the friendliest community in crypto, I think, all of us, and that guy Crypto, regardless of what you think about his titles for his videos and all the rest of it, He probably is one of the friendliest people in the crypto YouTube and Twitter atmosphere and all the rest of it. So that's the impression I get. So anyway, that would be looking down towards that 460 area or so. Cool, nice one. Everybody happy with that? I hope so. Let's then just kind of check in with our lower term time frame things. You can see the 4 hour here. We've got the 18 simple coming in at that 236. We've got the potential support area, having taken this back out, you know, so to speak, soft area here with the 8 EMA in there at 566. I think those numbers speak to us fairly naturally. 553 is a key area to be looking out for if we want to avoid this potential tweezer bottom reversal coming in here and actually failing, and of course we'd see that cascade happen if that were to be the case with any movement stacked down below the green 236 there and that faded 236 in the background at 553, and that's the key areas for us to look to in the immediacy of things. Taking out these horizontals up above are obviously key. You could look at this as having been an Adam and Eve type pattern and reversing this upward trend, in which case you've had your measured move, and that is your lower time frame perspective. Well, we've not really had it. We could come back down and revisit this area, but in terms of the textbook, check, we've had it. Nice one. And then on the 15-minute chart, because everybody loves a gambler, we're looking here and seeing that you've got this sort of W formation. Is it possible for us to get a breakout past that point there? I'm not super happy about, you know, that. It's not, you know, I wouldn't call it a head and shoulders at all or an Adam and Eve, because it wouldn't be a reversal of this prior upward trend here, and it's positioned really badly to be a reversal of that one. It's just, would it be continuation on the way? Overall, I'm going to have to say that that's far too generous to ourselves and reignite the bearish passions with regards to this one in terms of the 15-minute time frame. You know, obviously, if we do get a breakout, then it positions us very, very well for the top end of that parallel channel and our resistance and everything up above from that there. But of course, if we get the breakout towards the downside, you're just simply looking at coming in here for our first higher low. So there you go, that would be your resistance line, 592 clearly, and if you're playing this towards the downside, 554 clearly in terms of your higher lows and bottoms. And there's your pattern take on things, looking at the very low time frames as well. Boom. That's more than enough, I would say, for most people to be able to at least get an idea about the key areas to be aware of when it comes to trading this, regardless of whether or not you are new to technical analysis or you're just looking for somebody to help share the burden. Here we are taking a look at Link versus USD. Who knows if we actually manage to do this within the predefined time schedule, but you know, whatever. And the question remains with us, are we going to keep going towards the top side, or will we keep looking at the potential for this bearish divergence to play out down below? Now, what we can say with that that type of attitude is that it was fairly obvious when you were looking at this high here, having come in being the most recent high on the 15-minute time frame here, that you'd be having bearish divergence just here and the potential for it to turn around, or will we keep going? But that was me fooling myself there. I thought we were on the daily time frame there for a second. I know the story over here in the daily is that we put on this potential sort of hypothetical trade in yesterday's video. We talked about it being doable, possible to do it in two different ways. The high risk FOMO into it attitude of going in there, which of course was I would have been a mistake in general, but then over here in the low risk entry by taking it at the bottom end of our parallel channel that we've had on here for donkey's years, what we see is that there has been a death cross on the 4-hour time frame. This is never necessarily an immediate sentence for death. I would like to see if we can come in here and potentially test in around about this area where we see that death cross overall, because of course that would be the cross. That would be normal, typical, fairly enough typical, if we were to, of course, want to sort of confirm that in place. Whenever you've had a cross of these things, look to see if they get tested in the immediacy afterwards. Now, if we do start to trend towards the downside, we can keep that notion in mind, but this is, of course, our current sort of setup for us. When did we actually talk about this? 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, was it during this candle that we had yesterday's live stream? I can't actually remember. Anyway, no matter what way you look at it, I think this trade has worked out fairly well for everybody who was, of course, tuned into that episode. It's still in place, really. Pardon me, you could look at it the same sort of way, coming back down and retesting these areas. you probably want to get shot of your trade. I'm not a financial advisor, that's financial advice, but you know, you got to be thinking about things realistically, right? We could be looking at this as just your simple area to manage entries on towards the top side if you're going to be playing this that direction. Now, what would prevent you from wanting to do that in the long run, and why does this this move, this risk reward, simply look at the within the parallel channel, and why is it not even higher than the previous high? Why have we even gone in for a lower high? Why is that the case? And let's just be very clear. This low was lower than our previous low, despite the fact that they had those wicks on there. Zooming on in, as you can see, the body closes and then lower as we made our way down towards this. Taking this area out and moving down the way, we'd be doing a convergent move towards the downside, and then therefore be very bad. You'd also be taking out this magnolia colored line, which is the 50%, which is, you know, we've made it up above this key significant area. This is the first time we've really tested and asked the question about, will we have a higher low since we started this upward trend? And we put in these three so-called rise and valleys, and then of course if you're sort of wanting to just get in off the back of pure FOMO based on three rise and valleys from the Bulkowski book, if that's something that you're into, which of course if you are, top respect to you, cool with that, then you were a little bit semi-premature without looking at a potential retest of this 50 area just here that we've seen happen subsequently when we move back down past the 236. Certainly at that point you're kind of have to ask the question, which is what we did do. Now we have a 4-hour death cross. Can we reverse this and move towards the top side? Maybe this is going to be our finger on the pulse for that one. Now of course there is actually the positive case to be bearing in mind that we're very much in an upward trend here since September. Very nice. It is moving up the way. Very nice. Well, this is a low, you know, over here in the 24-hour time frame. You can see that there isn't a structure here to say that we've really necessarily put in a lower high necessarily, and this is necessarily the low necessarily. Because if you were to do that, let me just give you a quick reminder by drawing on there. Now I know it's a mess, I'm just drawing your eyes to that point here. If you remember at this point, then what do you see happening is this coming in and looking like a sort of low along the way before putting in a high. Are you really going to call this that at that point? Because if you were, then you were looking at bearish divergence between these two highs and the need to go down perhaps thereafter to at least challenge our previous lows, and then subsequently not doing it. And now looking back, you can kind of say, well, this was the high up in this area, and then this was the high over here. We've seen a drawdown since we had this bearish divergence at the high, but we haven't actually taken out our previous low, which then becomes at this point 1033. So if we do challenge that area, it makes for a very good buy. Of course, we'll have the 200 simple coming up towards meeting us at that area over the next wee while, and that would be good because it would be good to manage your risk around there, and that is why it would be a good buy. Because of course you're not talking about getting something at $10, holding it all the way down to $3, then and quadrupling your position size along the way and all that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being able to manage your risk easily enough, and of course that becomes an inflection point, and you're looking at far less percentage drawdown on the risk when you take that trade. Now of course there is the same argument to be made for just here. I would like to point out the fact that of course we're just convergent in terms of the oscillators. There is this somewhat tentative downward sort of position. If I remember that I had the drawing tool out, maybe I should ban myself from using the drawing tool. What do you make of that idea? Oh, I forgot to write a timestamp thing in here for the Chainlink thing. Who cares? Right, so we're looking here at this, and they've got this chop position for us, and we have of course crossed negatively. So you could kind of, you know, discount this trend and move. If this does go towards the top side though, then things get different. Oops, I meant to just zoom in here and show you that there is this slight sort of like almost upward curve on this ADX at the minute. If we see that going up the way and taking out that 20 zone, then of course you know where you are at that stage. Oh, good to see myself. That's cool. So first off, we were joined by the one and only Crypto, and now we're joined by Rocky Outcrop himself. There it is. Everybody, please give Rocky Outcrop a lovely warm welcome to the chat. I know the Rocky Outcrop community is the friendliest community out there, and Rocky Outcrop is probably the friendliest guy in all of the crypto world, regardless of whether or not you agree with his crazy clickbait titles such as when to buy and next stop, if you've been watching the last couple of videos. Yeah, cool, nice one. Good to see the bots in force. Nice one. Lol. That'll do for the technical analysis over here on this chain linking, my friends. I hope that you've got something of note from this. Of course, you know, really it boils down to how we handle what we predicted, in a sense, if you want to call it that, as being the area to be handled. And of course, what we see so far is a rise towards the top side, and things could potentially be quite good. On the lower time frames, when you go down the way, you can make a comparison and say this is bullishly divergent, this low, which obviously came flying on down towards our key area, testing this, and of course putting in a pretty good buy opportunity, bringing me back to where we were at the start of this channel, all that time ago now, back to the start of the channel, when I said that we had that potential trade on here, which I subsequently deleted, talking about the upside potential, and of course why you would probably not want to get too deeply invested in that in terms of your emotions going up towards the top end of that parallel channel. So now what we're going to do is move on over to the XTZ price action. Ha 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 ha. I'll put a comment in here. Can I block them? Says somebody. Yeah, I can probably block them, but I mean, the more the merrier, right? Crypto, he's a legend. Rocky Outcrop, he's handsome man. Who could want for anything more? I want to say that it's about 50 mins in that we take a look at the XTZ price action. Pow! You'll always recognize my comments for the real ones in this stream, because they'll be highlighted, as you can see there with that one. Cool. So Tezos till you Bezos. Before we tune into Tezos, it's 2:18. By the way, stay tuned for after Tezos, because that's when we're going to be doing the advert chat, right? So we'll try and film one together. I want to see there's 17 concurrent viewers, 22 likes. Thanks so much for everybody for being a part of the show so far. I hope you do choose to stay tuned so we can do the advert chat together. That's going to be a good laugh. You know, you can suggest a few sort of, you know, paragraphs or whatever, you know, like a few lines, not paragraphs, for sort of suggested dialogue. I'll come up with something. I'll put a tenor behind it and see what happens, providing that I'm actually able to do it. You know, I haven't properly set up any of this yet, so I need to take a look at that. Cool. Right, so Tezos. Right, here we go. Tezos, it is below 2222222. Okay, that's not what we wanted to see. What we can see here in terms of this 1 hour time frame is that we've come in and put in a low all the way down at $2. Ow, the pain. Or is it pain? Rocky, let's be honest. We did talk about this as being a potential area that the prices could go to for the last wee while, did we not? Yes, we did. Let's be honest, yes, we did. And now we've come down to here. Is it that much of a body shock to us? Well, I'm not really all that sure that it is, but what we are actually seeing right now is that we're below that 222 area. So while we've seen a resurgence in price, I'm going to hold on to my horses until we're above 222 again, right? Just going to make it nice and easy for myself. I could say above 220, where we're currently, you know, just 2 cents away from there. We could easily get there with a 1% move. Yes, that could happen, but the move that's taking us up here is 1.5%. We're still just away from there, and I want to see us pushing on past that. Okay, I want to see us closing up above 222. Really, that's that number that we're talking about. Now, what we have on the 1 hour time frame is a degree of confluence between the 236 Fibonacci retracement point in there at the $2.2 area and the 50 simple moving average here. Keeping an eye out for these sorts of positions and going up towards the 4 hour, we can see that the 200 exponential moving average is up there at 224 on the 4 hour, and look at that slope down the way in the 50. Could we be looking at the potential for a cross? Now, of course, as well, we can say in the 4 hour time frame, in terms of negativity, just in terms of this coin, that since we moved down past this inflection point here in this area, as we spoke about, by the way, do not let it be forgotten about. We talked about this in great detail on the live streams, giving everybody the opportunity to ask questions along with this at the time, and we identified this key upward line support, and we talked about it being potentially being broken at the time as we moved around past this area. Now, of course, we were also looking for an increase in volume on the 4 hour time frame. You can see that we only really got that candle as we came back up the way. It didn't really give us anything special, but we did know there was the possibility to come down here. Now, this puts us clearly into that fake out, that deep fake out territory from a movement in terms of any sort of head and shoulders in around this area, and of course then taking back out that neckline puts this in as being a special sort of little buy-in opportunity for everybody. Of course, everybody's already almost 10% up in terms of those lows, or well, not 10%, but let's call it 6-7%. What we do have as well in terms of the negative case then is that we're positioned, if you want to look at this in the 4-hour time frame from a sort of dual moving average perspective, that we have this negative position. If we don't manage to take out the 18 here, by virtue of the fact that 18 will continue to slope down the way, or indeed by virtue of the fact that the price could go above it, either of those two, at the same time as maintaining prices above the yellow, then you know, things are looking fairly bad, because this is crossed over negatively and we're below these two sort of sanitizers of the 50 simple and the 200 simple to say, well, you know, we're below them and that's negative. Now, of course, see across positively with these, then we're really close within touching distance to be able to manage your risk appropriately with any trades in around about this area for us. And over the next wee while, I suppose we could probably start to look towards numbers like, I don't know, $2.22 perhaps, in terms of movements up the way for that one, if we're looking for an area to manage our risk around. Okay, if we want to then push on up the way past that, then the sky's your limit. The sky is the limit. But into the great wide open. We'd be looking here though, can we push past the 236 in there at that $2.22 price or not? If not, then if we can, then where's the 618 coming in at? And you can see that that's in there around about 260. So giving you a great potential upside, and the 236, as we can see, of that smaller Fibonacci lines up perfectly with this bigger term one that's in the background there. So you're getting 236s for once there, roll up, 236s for one. Get your bargains while they're there to be had, and a 618 Fibonacci golden pocket that comes in around about, of course, that 50% area if we were to extend on beyond it, in terms of like leaving a little bit on the table for the next guy. So what we do though have, of course, as well, the potential for that negative cross to be coming in there. Let's not forget that we've seen stuff like this in the recent past. Ding there. So we also have examples to look to further our education if you want to. So if you were only watching this video for the Tezos and you missed the Chainlink, then you'd be able to see that there is also similar chat there to be had about it, should you so desire. We moved on down past the 618 on that Fibonacci retracement point. Did this come in for a 786? I mean, it looks like it just off the... We don't need to do this every time. In fact, I'll not do this again for quite a while. The 886? It's the 886, you said. 0.886. No, it wasn't. It was a 786. Sorry. Blinded myself there. Oh, and I just removed the whole thing. As you can see, this... Is it going to remove it if I go back? Nah, it's all screwed. It's all screwed. So, as you can see, came in for that one, moved towards the top side. So, yeah, we need to take out the 618 quite clearly. We do that, then we have a 236, yada, yada. It all ties together. Okay, cool. That's what we're looking for in terms of the Tezos dollar pricing. So, what about on the daily time frame? How are we doing? Have we really bollocked up? Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I've been trying not to swear in these episodes, you might have noticed. Have we ruined this or not yet? Well, let me be clear. We did talk about this in a confusing way. Let me be clear. I was confusing. We did talk about this in a confusing way with regards to this slope up the way, and it's all gestalt, and it's up to you what way you want to manage your trading with regards to this. Okay, it's all entirely up to you. You could, if you wanted to, even be looking at this from this perspective and saying that until such times as we really break $2, we haven't done anything in terms of this. Look, 1, 2, 3 touches using wicks here on the 24-hour time frame, giving you, you could do that, right? You can move it up a degree. You can move it up a degree. It really, I'm just going to let it. I've explained this in so many different ways. All of this chat. I think we're done there with that one. Cool. So diving back over, I'm going to put the 15-minute chat up. Did I miss out on anything? Yeah, maybe head and shoulders here on the RSI as we're looking up towards the potential for head and shoulders. Haven't asked the question about fake out territory from it, or is it broken? There's a clear sort of neckline there that we can move back above and say, well, regardless of whether that was fake out or just testing the neck, we're above this other one, which gives us a bit of confidence in terms of a satellite neckline, if you like, using that sort of old communist Russian USSR idea. So if you want to have this be your Poland or whatever, and if that's what you're thinking about, then cool, whatever. Of course, not Poland. I know that, right? Okay, right. Anyway, cool. Let me catch up with the chat. How you doing, Zoner? I see you are chatting. It's Magic Internet Money, 3,000 trin. Oh, I hope that's all good. XTZ 222222. That's right, Horn Hunter. Somebody said something about XTZ, and I don't know if I was meant to kind of do something specific about it or not when they said it. You can just chuck that back into the chat again. So balls in XTZ and pull out at 199. Oh, that's what it was yourself and talking about $3. Where does $3 come in with us? Chesney, where are we looking for $3? $3. Where would we be if we got to $3? Well, we'd be at the 1414 Fibonacci retracement point, I suppose. Here, I'll just stick that on. That's 333. Oh, we'd be at the 1272 in here. That's 320. Whatever. We'd have clearly have changed things around by the time we got to your point of entry, to the extent that we could even be looking for another higher low thereafter, with the potential to get in again maybe at 280 or 250 on any retracements that we have back from any of those zones, if that were to be the case. Okay, if that were to be the case. Now let's just put that into a bit more context, because we have this other sort of retracement here and the bottom in here and this inverted head and shoulders. So I want to just say, you know, that this would be your inverted head and shoulders. You pick your own neckline. I don't particularly care. Maybe you even want to just use the 200 simple as a neckline off of this. And if we were to use a measured move, let me just use that as my measured move, then you're looking up anywhere up towards a sort of 380, or indeed if your neckline was somehow lower, towards above 330, perhaps 10% even on from that there. And you've got this consideration to be made when you draw this Fibonacci down from the top to the bottom, that the 236 coming in here at 239, so 240, taking out that area, you're only really getting up as high as the 50% Fibonacci retracement, where you could find that retrace at that point by the time that you've hit 312, and you could be looking on towards another 20% increase in price thereafter at that point. Now that means that you're trading from deep out of the money, you know, and that's a different position to be in. I couldn't say that balls deep until $3 necessarily, pulling out at 199 necessarily as being the best strategy. However, if you're willing to accept that that may be the ultimate outcome, then perhaps you're willing to choose areas yourself where you could manage in and around those inflection zones your risk appropriately, given your new circumstances that you would be under at the time in that context that you were facing then, you know. So one interpretation of what I've just been talking about is that you could exit your trade at 320 or 315, 320, 330, for instance. I'm not a financial advisor, and this chat here, which may look to the YouTube gods as being financial advice, isn't. But what you could then think about is whether or not you would be looking to assess any potential weakness in the upward at that point trend towards that point there, and whether or not you'd be able to get a discount and sort of, you know, resolve your trading going forwards with more manageable risk areas thereafter, with a view to not taking revenge on the market by exiting your trade at break even, as Mark Douglas would talk about himself, but instead with a plan that you actually intend to execute, which has been worked out in advance with more conviction than possibly you had running up to that point. If you understand my takeaway from that. That might be better than financial advice for you, but I tell you what, it isn't financial advice. Right, so yeah, catching up with everybody then. Does anybody have any idea with the ads, right? So I have a couple of ideas that I can throw out there myself in terms of how I would advertise to anybody who wanted to see this channel. One of them would be that I would say, call it an investment instead of a trade, and you're good, says Zoner. Hi Richard, picked up XRP this morning at 55 cents. What do you think? Okay, cool. We can take a look at that in a minute, but we're going to have a wee chat about the ads first, right? Okay, we'll take a look at suggested coins as we kind of go towards wrapping up, and then maybe filming the ad. Hey, how about that? So if you've just joined us, by the way, what we're talking about here is we want to make an advert for the channel. You are the type of person, the exact type of person, right down to your very DNA sequence of what I want to attract here to the community, okay? I want to just go and hit clone on every single last one of you 1,000 times. The way we're going to do this is by putting out an advert for people who are avid investors on and looking at YouTube videos. And the advert is going to last less than 30 seconds, and it's going to be me, right? Talking here in this live video without this empty cup of tea in the video, I suppose. Maybe with a slightly sort of like that, right, or whatever. You come up with some ideas, and the chat's going to be something along these lines, okay? Something like now. Right, somebody just picked up some cover. They're really feeling that, says 3,000 Trin. So there you go. You can all take a look at that as well. It's nice to see people giving each other ideas and stuff in the thing. Where a kilt and stand? No, right, porridge packets I can do. Kilt I can do as well. I have a kilt in the other room. I'm not going to do that, K-Doc, mate. I'm going to skip the porridge as well because it means getting up and going around into the kitchen and whatever. I like your thinking, though. I do like your thinking. I mean, what's better? Kilt, porridge, stand like the guy on the porridge pack with packets of porridge was my interpretation of what you were saying there as well, in my hands. No, not right now. Do you research, says Thingy, great, cool. Mark Douglas is my hero, says Zoner, that's cool. We'll take a look over at Thingy in a wee bit. XRP, right, cool. Okay, so the advert would be along the lines of, hi, thanks for watching this ad. It's made directly for your benefit. I know that you like technical analysis on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy the video that you're about to watch. If you want more technical analysis in a friendly, FOMO-free, greed-free way, then hop on over to my channel. I'd love to see you there. I'm called Rocky Outcropticians. We're Rocky Outcropticians, or the community's Outcropticians, whatever. You know, it's great. I'll see you over there. Thanks for joining us. Right, there's an idea. Pretty bland, though, wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say that's pretty bland? Doesn't really, I don't think that really appeals to you. I think that you could probably see that and think that there is an appeal in that to, you know, the people who like porridge showers, as Susan is kind of saying there. Skyline, let's see all the crime outside your place. I don't know. What does it look like with the blinds open? Yeah, ain't nobody going to see what it looks like with the blinds open in a hurry. Lol at crime. Yeah, I know, right? All the ambulances and everything. No, of course, it's your benefit. Leave out necessary info. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think, right? Something positive, but also something that really appeals to you. You know, that is that in some ways could be off-putting to other people, right? Because what we're looking for is more Rocky Outcropticians. I don't want to have an advert that really appeals really great to Warren Buffett himself, that specific person, so that he comes along and watches. No. Real people, real traders with real future ahead of them who also, you know, are interested in this type of content and would get on along with me, you know, and as a result, we all get along with each other. I think I've got a fairly distinct personality, you could say, or, you know, so if you hate me, then, you know, that's good, right? In a sense that you can kind of get that out of the way real quick. So what do we think? Any good idea? It looked a bit scripted. Loosen up. Okay, sis. It wasn't. You've been what? Looks a bit scripted. Right, I need to make it look less scripted. Make it look not scripted. There we go. Is that an idea? Okay, so let's give it another blast. I'll go look at XRP, then we'll come back. I'll actually give you an idea. Somebody write in 30 words, you know, whatever it is. Describe the Rocky Outcrop channel in 18 words or less, or whatever, right? Somebody write that in. I'll get invest time. Yeah, cool. Nice one, K-Doc. That's cool. Write another sentence or whatever so it lasts for 10 seconds, right? And we'll record that when we come back. And I'll do another one just now that has to make it look like it's not been scripted. What would make that the case? Can't be eaten. Eating's really off-putting. What would make? I don't know what would make it look not scripted. I just guess starting it like this. Hi, thanks for watching this advert. Oh, that sounds scripted, right? That's the problem. Okay, that's the problem right there in of itself. Saying hi and everything else is crap. You do technical analysis, I do technical analysis. The way that I do technical analysis helps educate people. Do you want in on that? It's free, it's high quality, every day on YouTube, and there's a growing, active, thriving community who really get on really well with each other, and we're looking forward to having you be part of the channel. Hit the link here and come on over and get some Bitcoin, TA, Ethereum, Chainlink, Tezos, and multiple other altcoins. You suggest them, I'll take a look at the channel just now. Thanks for joining me, and my name's Rocky Outcrop, and this wasn't scripted, so, you know, let's hope for the best. What do you think of that? Oh, I forgot to say your line. Crap. We'll have to do it again. I'll come back after XRP, right? I hope you stay tuned for that. Thanks to everybody who's watching. I lost 5 viewers just talking about the ad there in the meantime, but it's all good. We've got 28 likes. Everybody's having a nice time. We're just here for the nice times, people. Let's go on over to Ripples and take a look at Ripple. Oh, well, XRP USD sat at 59 cents. So what can I say, my friend? Let's just go on down towards 15-minute time frame and see. You got in at 55, so you got in around about here, around about about 7 o'clock maybe, or something like that, and the prices have gone up. What can I say, mate? You're up nearly 10% in terms of I mean, I feel like I've just massively, no, you're up nearly 10%. You're up 7.5%. What can I say? You're doing great, right? You're doing great so far. You're looking, maybe you want to have a stop in. Maybe you want to have a stop and that. So what would you think about a stop then in terms of a couple of numbers? Like, you know, you could look towards the confluence that we see here on the 15-minute time frame between the 8-period exponential moving average and the 236. Stop out at 58, reassess things, take things easy. That's if you're trading this off of the back of a sort of 15-minute time frame. You could also then just think, well, you know, that you're happy for it to retest this thing, but you're looking to stop out on, say, like the 30-minute time frame, 8-period exponential moving average if we come in, but we haven't tested that in a while. Maybe that's natural that we would test that. Maybe you want to stop out right now, take your profit off the table and check out things if they dare to go down. Who knows? But we're above the 200 simple here and maintaining that right now on the 30 minutes, so that's nice to see. And we're below it on the 1 hour, but you know, of course, we're way up towards the top there, miles away from our 236 when you kind of think about it, in there at 58, and we're at 59 at the minute, sitting pretty. And overall, though, we could be looking at having come up and done enough of a retrace. What's this towards the downside? Is it divergent? Came in as a lower low without divergence. So we've just done a lower low without divergence, and this was our previous high over here. And we've just come in and done that low, going down to that wick. That's where the wick is, by the by. Coming in from the wick over here, more or less, and that puts us in here as having got to the 50%, where you can often see turnarounds. Maybe in terms of the risk that you're putting on in your position right now, in terms of right now in this very moment, is exacerbated somewhat by the fact that we're in this inflection key area, you know, which would have been nice to have anticipated in advance on the run up. Now, of course, you didn't get in at 50, and it went up already a nice solid 10% towards the top side before you got in at that point. Right, great. You've traded the momentum, okay? You're not really necessarily doing a trending move here. You're not necessarily, this is me dissecting your chat in reverse, but you're not necessarily, you know, doing maybe you're doing a momentum move, maybe you're doing a counter trend move, in which case maybe you're aware of these things, and it's probably wise to not incorporate greed and too much into counter trend and momentum style moves. Maybe that's what you want to be thinking about from the broader perspective. Like, how have we done on a 12-hour time frame? When we came down and tested that area, of course we tested the 50 simple. That's the first time that's happened in a while. That's nice to see. Maybe this is how you want to think about things if you're willing to sort of eat a loss in terms of your position. Now, I wouldn't ever advocate for that myself personally, but there you are. And if you were looking down there, then taking out that previous wick and taking out 50 really would be, of course, your big scary number. This is, of course, a key area of support as well, looking over to the left from the past, and we kind of identified that on the channel in the past as well. But yeah, you know, you could be looking, I mean, that still comes in at another sort of 7% off. So there's a great deal of volatility here, making this a good one for trading. Again, reducing your need for too much greed. We're seeing that the bearish bias, which is strength of trend, which has been in place really since, like, looking at this since the 27th of November. And if you look back, then you can see that that's the case. And which is something to be, this is a lesson here in of itself. This is the 12-hour time frame, and looking at this, and you could think, oh, this is so strong, right? But we so often talk about the positioning of these things with regards to these toppy areas and saying at the time, this is really high. We've seen this in the past on the channel, right? Other people certainly will have. This is very high. And then we see the prices dropping down. What do we see having happened here? Well, they were all the way up there. It's, they dropped down. A big chunk has come off the prices since then, as you'll know about. What do I think about it? I'm not going to think too much beyond that, actually. Let's just see if actually any of that resonates with people. Right. Cool. Nice one. So, what do you think? Was that enough of XRP? Are we kind of satisfied with that one? I think that was a good answer to somebody who asked a question, right? Again, not financial advice. Right, so what we say is, hey, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. I like TA and being super dope friendly guy. We focus on the positive here, emotionless trades, but a lively crowd. If you get a chance, stop on buy. I like that. That's quite nice. What do you think of that? What do you think of that, people? Right? Put in an explosion. Cut to building crashing. And a rocket taking off. Cut to Rocky with his hands up. Bitcoin's going crazy. We gotta do the TA quick. Cut to the police. The police are saying, thanks, Rocky. Your TA saved the orphanage from closing. Could we hire Go-Go Dance? Right, I love it. Your ambition is like, wow, that your ambition alone could cause an explosion there. That's amazing. Zoner suggests, FOMO killed my brother. I am here to avenge him with my TA. Too much? Or we could do Oliver Twist with his plate. Please, sir, can I have some more TA? And then 3000 Trin, haha, he's dying to get to the chat. Yeah, you sussed me there. XRP was not, drawing my attention in as much as those paragraphs that I was seeing come up on stream. I quite like what 3000 Trin has said there. Is there a way that we can meet in a middle ground between 3000 Trin and what KDoc is suggesting? Or just you saying that, cut and paste that as your ad. Do you want me? Shall I just do that? That section can be the ad, the bit that I read out already, so it's already done. How about that? Then it's definitely not scripted, right? Because it's already happened, and I didn't even realize I was recording it at the time. How about that? Let me know what you think. Are we going with that? Is that what you're actually suggesting there, by the way, KDoc? That I just use that there as the ad. By the way, actually, let me know the exact bit you're talking about, because I don't know. I've talked a lot, and when I come back to looking for this, I'll be looking at it and be thinking, but what did he mean? What bit did he mean? So you'd have to give me like a timestamp if that was start a Word doc to sort all this out. This is it. This is the can of worms. I didn't want to open a can of worms, right? We're going to be worm free. This is a worm free environment. No canned worms or, any type of worms. No, dehydrated or otherwise preserved worms in this environment. Okay. We're going to just not go into the world of starting a Google Doc. We could do that for another one. We could do something like that through the Discord, right, or whatever. Okay, something like that we could do. But this is it. This is coming from this is coming from the live stream, right? This is an advert to go out and attract more of you, right? So that's why it needs your approval now. But what am I attracting them to? I'm attracting them to this. So it's going to be made here in this. The only ingredients that we can use to make this are this majestic microphone, this screen here, my light shade, my face, and the very presence of my unshaven face. You know that, right? Okay, we've got another suggestion coming in here, right? Hi, the economy is being reset. Everything you think you own is gone. Crypto is the future. Rocky Outcrop is your guide. Don't be a pussy. Right, okay, we got a suggestion coming in from Susan Warrender. You should say the 3000 Trin suggestion word for word, and then add the bit of police saying you saved the orphanage later. How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? Just go with 3000 Trin. I wanted to make an advert, you know, that I would put on today so that we could come back tomorrow and have a laugh about this. I suppose we have until Friday. That is also a good idea. NPC3 at Chesney. Yeah, so Susan Warrior's coming in with that's a good idea. Hi, the economy is being reset and everything you think you own is gone. Crypto is the future. All your everything is belong to us. Cool. So far the suggestions are that I just simply take the bit that I already said about 3000 Trin and use that for a laugh. The other suggestion is that I kind of do it again, right? I suppose this time somehow better. The other one is we take a look at combining together some of these ideas. Well, you have plenty of priests. Yeah, I know I do. I have got like a ton of B-roll. For that 3000 Trin, he sure does. Yeah, you know, it's like I said 1,000 times, I don't even notice it, and when I'm not around it, I get withdrawal symptoms. It's like this feeling that there's the world out there, it's alive, you know, that is burning down. It's got people tripping over and breaking their hips. It's got people committing crimes. It's got everything in there that makes for a good 1980s Escape from New York style Kurt Russell movie, and that's what I type to imagine is going on constantly out there. That, of course, it's like something, you know, I'm obviously disappointed every time I walk out the front door and see that it's just the world as normal, but yeah, Corona was good for me in that sense. Still, like X-Files suggestion from earlier, lol. There was an X-Files suggestion. I can't remember the name. I can't remember how it goes, but something like that. I can't see the X-Files one from earlier on, so sorry for that. I could say, thanks for your comment. People have been complaining a crypto broker that can help in trading. I recommend expert Mr. William on what app? I didn't even read the number out. Yeah, so anyway. I see. Want the answers? Got the answers? Fed up of prices doing silly stuff? I'm your direct line to the truth. Stick me on your speed dial and say goodbye to being a poor punk. Oh wait, that's quite a good one from TradeSpotting earlier on. Did you read that one? Oh, there's that one. Or TradeSpotting and Rocky dress as Mulder and Scully from the X-Files and taglines. The truth is out there. Yeah, okay, cool. That's like a good idea for next Halloween's sort of ad. Rocky's tea is solid. I was here when he called Chainlink's run a day before it went wild. Whoop whoop. Nice one. Yes, excellent. Thanks for that, by the way. And as well, you probably were here whenever I did the picture. There was a thumbnail was a remote control car crashing into a tree. Chainlink, avoid the crash. You know, that was the price was $20 when I published that video telling everybody how to avoid losing their money. Just let it be said. So yes, thank you so much for your support along the way, Sunny. Yeah, cool. I use AdBlock. I'll miss the ad, said Zoner earlier on. Sad face. Advertising. Yeah, I would want to be able to do that. I can't choose specific adverts, videos though. Just set up an obstacles course outside while you're saying all this and hold a sword. You know what? Personally, I really like TradeSpotting's suggestion. Okay, I also like the 3000 Trins suggestion where he includes, "Hey, my name is Rocky Outcrop and I'm a Sagittarius." Is that yeah, I like it, and I've loved the drama of KDoc suggestions. If I've missed some of your suggestions, by the way, I don't mean to. It's just the chat. It's just there's so much of it. I want to be able to find some other ones. I'm so sick of these scammer bots. Please click. Yeah, cool. What in the world? What in the world? I'll get rid. I kill every scammer bot that I see. Everybody report them as you see in the chat coming up. You do it. I get rid of a lot of spam. Can we produce it like gay chatline adverts from the 90s, like a 90s YMCA? Come over to Rocky Outcrop for some meaty gains. It's a little bit disconcerting that I said, like, what would attract you to the channel? I was like, number one thing on this here is I was saying, so what would attract? What I want to do is make an advert suggested by you to get more of you in the channel. And one of the suggestions is, can we produce it like a gay chatline advert from the 90s? Makes me wonder who's watching these videos. I think you need to hold up time numbers. Right, okay, I've read enough of the chat going back the way. If I've missed your chat, I'm sorry about it. Oh, look, I've been chatting again. Here I am, people. Here I am right now, chatting. I'm chatting without fingers. I'm not actually managing to touch the thingy here. What did I say? I said, thanks for your comment. People have been complaining. Yeah. Do well now to message my personal account official, Mr. William. He's the guy that tells me everything. It looks like I make these things live and I make it up as I go along. Tell you what, it's an arduous process reading and remembering all of the things that... Who is it? Mr. William texts me through on WhatsApp before I go on these videos. Thankfully, though, he's managing my money for me, and it's all right. Don't give them your money. Okay, beautiful sunsets makes me emotional, but trades do not. Man, I want to do that. I want to do that satire. Should I go for satire? Do enough people get it? The thing is, as well, I was also going to position the advert, and I want to get your feedback on that, in San Francisco. So if I make the advert and put it in San Francisco, will enough people there get it? I think San Francisco is a pretty good chance of there being satire understanding people. But I wonder, I'd click it, says K-Dog with that. Yeah, okay, right, so satire. I guess satire is a good one. You could get a cat and just stroke it like a James Bond villain. I've been expecting you, Mr. FOMO trader. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull anything enough together. There's enough. Let me just write a note, I guess, into the chat window so we can see what we're working with here. So a rough outline is the things that we've got already being said here. There were some good ones, but what did TradeSpot say? Regarding the entry at $3. No. No. What's the answers? I got the answers. Fed up of prices doing silly stuff. I'm your direct line to the truth. Stick me on your speed dial and say goodbye to being a poor punk. I like that. I want to be able to copy that into some idea for us to use, so I can stick that in there. And we had an idea from 3000 Trin that was quite good as well. Where is it? Put an explosion. No, it's the next one. Hey, my name's Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. Yes, of course. Got to get all the important points in there. So then that's there as well. And then we also have FOMO killed my brother. It's not true though. It's not actually true. It didn't. And we have some other ones. There was a couple other ones. Anyway, right, cool. That's how I found BitBoy actually. Yeah, that's funny. Just do a TikTok. You were talking about just do a TikTok, not that you found BitBoy crypto through an advert that sounded like a gay chat up line from the 90s. Sorry, I confused your comments together there. Didn't realize you found him on TikTok. Dude, create the Word doc, copy and paste the label and timestamp. All right, okay, cool. I'll do that for advert 2.0. For advert 1.0, we're going to make it in the next 2 minutes, right? Because, like, you know, we've got to capture this. We've got to capture this moment, right? This moment needs to be captured. And when it's captured, then people will have it. Your confusion was much funnier. Yeah, okay. That's what made me laugh. So, right, first things first. We want to have the charts on screen, don't we? There we go. Is there too much haze from this thing? There might be too much haze from it, but we want to have them on charts. So we'll make it full screen. Hopefully the blackness will cut down on that. We want it to be Bitcoin, right? Because everybody loves Bitcoin. So, no, I can't make it full screen. That's just going to have to do. We don't want any drawings on it, though, and we don't need any of these colors. We want it to be on the 1 minute chart for sure. Right, okay. That's 1 minute. Cool. Right. You're confusing what's funny. Okay, I got you. Come on, Susan, you got something. Wagwan Rocky. I see 3000 Trin encouraging Susan to come up with a suggestion. I hope that's not because I've missed one. Thanks, Rich. I bought right before that dip to 50. Was going to hold until the airdrop on the 12th. Exchanges will now allow buying and not now allow buying and selling of it. Yeah, well, 50 would have been better. I mean, we know that. You don't need me to tell you that. In terms of where we are now, you know, retrospectively, looks like you made a good decision to kind of hold strong through that period. Ugh, what am I doing? Getting sucked back into the whole chatting about stuff to help people idea. We're actually at that 58 number at the minute, so, you know, in a sense, when I was talking before, you could have, you know, in a sense, that was something. But, what were we looking at? Yeah, in terms of the sort of the 15-minute candles and this downwards, did you get anything coming in? You know, we came in without the divergence there and everything as well. Increase in volume. What about structurally looking back the way with this low? Suppose there's a little bit of inflection here, but you must have been a tad worried that we were going to be looking at another, you know, drop off, as you can see in the VPVR there as well at that time. Suppose coming in there and getting a bit of support isn't that surprising in retrospect, and also there's potential for sort of really pointed head and shoulders giving you that V-shaped recovery, also quite nice. But we can see the importance of that inflection there. We don't need to go on about things. Let's stick. Do we want to leave XRP up on screen? Because it gives the wrong impression. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin's there. You should add some of that sound massage. I think TradeSpot on Amazon shopping for. TradeSpot's on Amazon shopping for a ginger wig. He's looking for Sky Coffee. That's funny that he actually is on Amazon at the minute. Right, so, okay, cool. We can see that, right, one thing I want to ask, by the way, during this recording, and I know, K-Doc, you'll feel this temptation really strongly right now, okay? But, as you can see, up there above my head, there's comments, and that will be part of the ad, because this screen you see right now is going to be the ad. So, in the eternal words of that guy who did that TV show that time, don't say fucker bucker right now, okay? Just don't write into anything in there, anything too inflammatory for looking for Scully costumes. That's so funny. Oh wait, if the advert's going out in San Fran, we need to include skinny soy latte couscous and avocado on toast. TradeSpot and YouTubers pet the microphone and shite. And YouTubers. Wow, that TA was right. You got it, buddy. That's what you're to do. Right, okay, cool. You got it. Right, okay, so my suggestions and stuff have gone from earlier on. I just want to kind of roughly read through them. I'll read through all three of them slowly or whatever. Then I'll have a rough idea what they said, and then I'll just basically say it again, okay? Rough outline, rough is, want the answers? I got the answers. Fed up prices doing silly stuff. I'm your direct line to the truth. Stick me on your speed dial and say goodbye to being a poor punk. Hey, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. I like TA and being a super dope friendly guy. We focus on the positive here. Emotionless trades, but a lively crowd. If you get the chance, stop on by. That's really good as well, just even as it is. We don't really need to combine them up too much. FOMO killed my brother, so of course this means a lot to me. And we have something else in there. Okay, cool. Let's just kind of see how things go. But essentially the key takeaways were that I'm not starting off by saying look at those comments. I'm not starting off by saying hi, my name is, right? I mean, you've been able to identify that, everybody. That's good. Well, I mean, that's hopefully what's important. Actually, 3000 Trin included it in there. Going to cut that out of your chat, though. I'm going to say, shall I start off with I'm a Sagittarius? I mean, that's so, like, if people don't get that I've got a sense of humor, then maybe they're going to take me super serious. Saved the orphanage. Yeah, you know, we did. I made 10,000. I made 12,000%. Nice one. Right. Oh, I can do the stream marker thing for this. Okay. At this, oh no, messed that one up, messed it up. It's because there was also that whole the markets thingy that somebody else said that was like the markets are being rubbish at the minute or something like that, whatever it was. That was kind of cool. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, there's that, you know. But I don't want more viewers. That isn't what I don't want. More viewers. It's that this is really enjoyable, and I'm having a great time right now, and we're a good community, and I want to introduce this community to more people and grow the community and have fun. I mean, that's what we're doing here. Is that all? 3,000? I've made 56,000 every day since Rocky started streaming. Okay, cool. Yeah, another stream marker and give this another shot. I have to say something about not saying hello at the start. I'm gonna say want the answers. Yeah, want the answers. Do you want the answers? I'm your direct line to the truth. I'm also a Sagittarius. No, I don't know. It doesn't work anymore. Right, okay, so anyway, I need a kind of timer for 30 seconds. Well, I can use my watch for that. I suppose watches come in useful for something at some point in this 21st century. Cool. Want the answers? We got the answers. Tune in to Rocky Outcrop's YouTube channel for FOMO-free technical analysis on a daily basis. We're making this video together with the community. I really hope that you take the time to stop by. By the way, key information, I'm a Sagittarius. FOMO actually killed my brother, and we did together. We saved the orphanage. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the channel at some point. Do tune in. I'll see you then. Is that too long? How long was that? Oh, that was about 7 seconds too long. 2 seconds too long on that one. I don't know as well. Maybe too much trying to sell it, too scripted. I'm a sag immediately after your name. Okay. Right, stream marker. I'm just going to say what 3000 Trin said word for word, right? I'm just going to go with that one. It's hard to put other different bits in here into unless somebody wants to rewrite it. I'm just going to say it word for word, and we'll go with that, including the I'm a Sagittarius thing, right? It's probably going to be fairly obvious that I'm reading this from time to time, so I'll maybe say it a couple of times in a row, but just so I get it down there. But yeah, cool. Okay, no FOMO free. That's old. Don't say FOMO free. That's all. Everybody else using that FOMO free stuff. I thought I was pretty fresh with the FOMO free thing. Okay, so we'll not say FOMO free. That's old, according to the community. You're now the voice of the community, 3000 Trin. We focus on the positive, emotionless trades, but a lively crowd. Hi, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. Because I like TA and being super dope friendly guy. My name's Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. I like TA being a super dope friendly guy. We focus on the positive here. Right, okay. Hi, my name's Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. I like TA and having a super... See, this is it. This is why, one of the reasons why I do live videos is that I'm no actor. I can't act. I can't actually take what William says to me on the WhatsApp text messages and tell that to you guys. I'm always stuck when it comes to that. I'm too authentic, which is really difficult to then do anything scripted because I'm so authentic. I want that to come across in the ad. That's one of the important things. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Hey, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius, and I like TA, and I'm a super dope friendly guy. We're focused on the positive here. Emotionless trades, but a lively crowd. If you get a chance, stop on by. There's that, right? Does that say enough? Does that say what we need to say? Does that actually say, does somebody at the end of that know that we're a TA channel that does technical analysis that'll help educate them and stuff like that? I'm not sure if they do. Maybe I need to say it again with a bit of that. Hey, my name is Rocky. Oh wait, I'll put another stream marker in and then I'll catch up with what people are actually saying. Oh, I see, it's still really great stuff. Use the beach thing instead of FOMO free. What was the beach thing? The beach thing? Did I say, what's the beach thing? That's why you just cut and paste one of the last from this live. All right, okay, yeah, fair enough. Right, just keep going. You're doing great. Thanks, people. Thank you. What in the world likes TA as well? Of course you do. Of course you do. We all do. Hi, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius and I like TA. I also like being a super dope friendly guy, which is what attracts people. What the fuck? What am I even talking about? That's not going to work. What attracts people to this community? I don't think anyone cares. 11 current viewers. They've tuned out. Everybody's tuned out. It's just us now. Okay, let's just do this. Wrap this up and then get the blooming advert on YouTube and see if it works. Hey, my name is Rocky Outcrop. Hey, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. I like TA and being a super dope friendly guy. No, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to do it again. Hi, my name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius. I like TA and being a super dope friendly guy. We do emotionless trading here on the channel. If you're looking for some of that TA and education, then there's no better place than the Outcroptician community. I look forward to seeing you there. I hope you do choose to stop on by. Okay, that might be what we go with. What do you think of that one? Is that going to do that? Brilliant, people. It's a wrap. Oh, great. So we have some sort of sunsets make me emotional, but trades do not. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Should I have said that? Is that good enough? Can we just call it a wrap though? I didn't say that, but it's up there on the. At least it's up there in the background. The eagle-eyed would notice that in the chat. Shall we go with that? I think we shall. I'll cut that out. Right. What I'll do is I'll cut that out from this live stream, pop it on as a video. You might even get a notification saying Rocky Outcrop's published a live ad video, so you'll see that. It'll be crap. Right. It's literally just what you saw cut out, and yeah, and I'll start publishing that. Then we can check in. Now, providing that I don't need to go through some sort of BS, like approving things and saying at what point in time 3 cents and then 1 cent was deposited in my bank account or any of that. You know, providing things go smoothly, then we will check in with the analytics on that advert tomorrow and see if it attracted anybody. Now, the thing is, if it attracts just one person to the channel, that would be a good laugh, right? And they can forever be proud of the fact that they were the person that got attracted to it. I mean, this is what it's all about, building community, right? I would love to know if there was just one person attracted to the channel, and that if they were to put that above their heads, like as a sort of a symbol saying, I was the one that clicked your ad, buddy. Wouldn't that be a good laugh? I think so. Anyway, stick a Bitcoin sticker over the chat window, lol, says somebody. Could do. So much money, I need to buy actual real bags to carry it all. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Yeah, you say that, right? Just cut and paste whatever one sound the best and whatever and more. No, I still reckon I still think I'll probably just take that chunk and stick it in because we're here, we're doing this together. This is real, you know. It's not like, oh, I'm going to sit there and talk to people about how I'm going to make an advert with them and then afterwards go and edit it together, even if the people themselves are telling me that that's what I should do. No, I'm going to do like what we said that I was going to do and freak out. Okay, people, thank you so much for tuning in. We're not getting anybody saying we need to look at any other coins or anything like that. When ETH was $67, Rocky told me to stop buying food and spend all my money on it. That's really funny. I said a lot of things to a lot of people at that time and got a lot of people to save a lot of money. Where's that girl, by the way? Where's that other one? Susan, you're like the only female that kicks around in the chat at the minute. Need to attract more females to this sausage party, I have to tell you. But if we can, if there was one, and what was she called? Like, she was called something, Sophietta. Do you remember Sophietta? If you're a long time Rocky Outcroptician, you might have seen her in the comments of Ethereum videos back in the day talking to me about stuff. I actually managed to save her a lot of money and get her in on a really good trade with the old Ethereum there on that one, and that was good. and it was, I also educated her about FOMO at the time. She didn't realize it, she was suffering from FOMO, but that was some good comments. Those were some good comment days. Oh bro, just remember us when you're a star. How could I ever forget it, man? You know, how could I ever forget everybody here when I'm a star? Look at one or cover. Cool. Tell you what, because you're such a lovely dude, let's just do that right now. I can get this monitor slightly out of the way now that we're done filming the ad. And let's take a look. Right, so we're talking 1 USDT first off, and then we'll take a look at cover. Daily time frame for 1, we saw previously, essentially since 1 came out, it had a big rise up, but then it dropped down an awful lot, putting in these lows as far down there as 0.001 cents, all the way down to those very extreme lows, and then after that came all the way up towards 0.01439. And I think that puts us with 2 clear Fibonacci's that we can put on to just quickly give us some context, right? Now, I've obviously done stuff like this in the past, so if I just actually use this one here, so I'll just extend the lines to the right for this one. And where does this take us to? That's just between these two. I'll just borrow this Fibonacci here and drag it on down. So let's see, the 236 comes in here roughly where we find the 382. The 382 on this comes in roughly at the 786, 886 area, and the 618 comes in here around about the 1618, giving us the ability to kind of just, you know, scroll in, knowing the context of where that is in the historical sense, to now look at this. So we know a couple of things. For instance, the 382 comes in at where we found the 236 on this one. Is that right? The 236 comes in at where we found the 382 in this one, right? Then thereafter, we had these other lines coming in. So the 786, what we want to see really happen with this, naturally, obviously, is to continue what could potentially be an upward trend at this point. With this low here, this high, and this low. 3,000 trend. Cheers. Thanks, by the way. Thanks very much for that. Really do appreciate it, as ever. Cool. So, yeah, and I will keep up the good work. Looking up the way here then, so we have these this framework around what we're looking at here in terms of the left side and the right side of the downward price action, the upward price action, and the relationship between them. And this puts us in at this point and says, is this right side then an upward trend, with this being our high and this being our higher low from a very broad perspective then? And where can we look to at significant areas between these 2 points then to get back in at in terms of movements up the way, with the overall hope or potential expectation that should we move past the 382 here on this one, that we're also taking out the 236 on the bigger Fibonacci. Should we then also move past the 618 zone and go on and do really deep retrace up towards that 886 and up towards that 1, then we're taking out various other levels, significant levels, and we could be looking towards the, you know, for instance, the 50% there at the 382, or the 50% here if we go on past it. But the 618 comes in at 1618, and we could be looking as high as 20 cents. So from a very, very broad perspective, that would be likely to be our potential for us to be. Let's just say that this is an area where the risk of staying in a position without having had a significant retrace back the way beyond this point becomes exponentially greater than it does on the lead up to this point. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to predict anything. I'm just going to talk about this from a risk management point of view, and this is where we can see the diminishing utility of staying in a trade beyond that point. This is a theory called marginal utility, essentially, beyond that point, right? Okay, so I think that your elasticity should really kind of get to a point of being potentially stretched here as well, with your own tolerance to trades in terms of risk and risk alone. Then thereafter, looking at that position where we could go to, could be at that stage anyone's guess, but certainly it's more than enough in terms of time away from where we are now to consider things. In terms of the 24-hour time frame, we see over here there was a death cross. Okay, so let's just highlight this, a death cross in here. Not good, right? That happened over there on the 21st of October. So obviously with this run up in price that took us up to these highs, we were hoping that, you know, we could avoid having a death cross, having had this golden cross back there in July. But unfortunately, of course, this is the way that things have panned out. And now we're between these two. In fact, we've just recovered the 50 today. pardon me, with this most recent movement, and we're above the 50 but below the 200. Now, do you remember earlier on I spoke about in one of the other coins that we've done on this live stream about the relationship between a dual moving average strategy where you're looking between crosses between two particular moving averages, and then perhaps how you can qualify that with a third moving average where you have a longer term one and say, well, I'll only take positive trades off the back of being of a cross if it's above another longer, slower moving average. Well, we actually have a funny dichotomy here with regards to when the price is positioned between the two following the cross. And this is obviously another one of these circumstances where it's nice to have a little bit of that sort of lesson about how to think about things. So in terms of this cross we've had negatively, it is below the 200 simple, but it's above the 50 simple. What I want to see here is some resolution one way or the other between these two sort of different opposing attitudes. And I would like to see that with a movement towards the top side off the back of this being a low and this being a higher low, and perhaps even, you know, this being a higher low, this being a higher high, and having a trend overall on the way up here. With this confusion question in terms of where we are right now that we've already explored with regards to the TA that we did earlier on, remind me in the chat maybe what one it was, but there was certainly one of them where we talked about the positioning of this and whether or not we have this to be considered as being an actual low on the way or not. Now, if we don't consider this to be a low, then we don't consider this to be a trend down the way necessarily as such, as really we've come in to put in our higher low on the upward trend. But what we can say fairly significantly as well is that if we were looking at this line towards the top side that we've seen in a lot of altcoins recently, then we've broken that currently, but we've done it without doing it on volume. If you take the alternative view whereby you look at this upward sloping line using what has been wicks and bodies and such up to this point, well, okay, and you jump up to the 2-day time frame, then you see that we're still in this situation where we could be in a channel towards the top side. So we have to be a little bit more kind of patient with seeing how this actually resolves itself, because we are in this mode. In terms of the 2-day time frame, by the way, you can see that if things continue then go down the way and we break past these lows, we're almost certainly going to come in with a death cross on 2-day. And of course, then if we take out our previous highs and this inflection on the way down the way, then of course then this will prevent this from crossing and we'll have some good times ahead. So that really does kind of frame the overall picture. Then let's take a look at how we are getting on with regards to moving up here on the lower term time frame with regards to these lows, for instance, that we've had in terms of the movement up and the oscillators down below. So this would be looking for hidden bullish divergence, okay? Because if we consider this being an uptrend, then we know that our key points are this sort of low here, this one here. We're ignoring that one because of the chat about it being an uptrend, and we're calling that one the trending move. So you're looking between this low and this low and this low and asking, have we got the potential for hidden bullish divergence? So bringing this up full screen, we can see that it did indeed come in with class B bullish divergence. You could say hidden bullish divergence on a class B nature. Let's look at the uptrend that we had then as well, looking for that classic divergence. And we can quite clearly see as well, really, between these two highs and these two highs here, that there is that bearish divergence. So subsequent to that, what we had was a slight downward movement. And that ties together with the narrative of this not really being the low, having had, you know, the need to burn off that divergence. As we went upwards following on from that low, what we see here on the DMI is that we didn't have any strength of trend. If we zoom on in a bit so you can see a bit clearer, we didn't have any strength of trend. It was all very much chop, you know, giving us that, and it was slightly crossed negatively as well during the point at which we came in for really when we started to make our minds up about where we were going. So you could see that when this started to move down the way, that we didn't have that strength of trend following on from there. Now could we actually achieve it? Well, we are positioned fairly well. A couple of things to look to, of course, bearing in mind this all comes under the auspices of, can we take out some of these key areas towards the top side, or is the risk of looking up going to increase dramatically, breaking down past other key areas? And I think that's defined by that 50 and that 200 for us. And we're looking here at the curve down the way on the ADX, the movement where we could come down past the 30 line here, the increased move on the increased lows here. They're convergent, but Yeah, so between this area and this area where we had our previous lows, looking at the same sort of zones here as we have marked out on the chart and the RSI down below, that there is actually that hidden bullish divergence on the DMI as well, just in that area. It's not class B though, it's classic. Or class A. So yeah, you know, we're positioned fairly well. We are right in here on the moment, on the 4 hour, where we could have a death cross. Okay, this is happening. This is what we have to consider, but we're up here testing the moving averages right now, and that shows us the real desire that there is in the price to kind of put in a change in mode, but we have to accept the consequences of trying to do so right now. I mean, going through this increased liquidity. Just looking at here, I know it wraps up over the price action, but you can see that if we do move up past these points, that the volume wise over historically where we're talking is all coming in around about just above our head. So zooming back in here, and you can see it's still very much in place as we zoom on in. This is significant to us. Taking out the 5.5 cents, very good. Taking out 4.5 cents, very bad. Our two main targets for us can kind of go along those lines. Right now then, therefore, I'm going to extend out the lines here, and what we're looking for is this to not become an ascending broadening wedge at all. Let me just take it off log in case that makes this easier for us. What we're looking for is for this to not become, indeed it does, ascending broadening wedge essentially, and for us to be able to continue towards the top side, you know, or unless this is going to be like a reversal pattern style ascending broadening wedge. So in which case we can look towards key areas. If we do make it up past that 5.5 zone, the next target is going to clearly be at that 6.33, 6.33 cents, and then up there towards 7.5 cents. Is that 7.5 cents? No, that's 75% of 1 cent, 0.007. Yeah, that's where we'll be looking to next. Do you want me to look at it in any more detail, by the way, buddy? If not, then cool, because that is certainly, you know, quite a bit. There's other things we could look at, I suppose, just to kind of, you know, get in there at the end with what else have we not talked about really with regards to just, and of course as well, I haven't looked at various different oscillators or moving averages or Bollinger Bands. Oh, we'll stick the Bollinger Bands on real quick. What you're looking at here as well is this trend line. Will we see this get retested again? If we do, then of course, then the chances are that price-wise we're moving up to areas of where we can, you know, really kind of establish that we've not, you know, that we'll be asking questions here at this 5.5 area. If we do and we push past this, we could be breaking out of a trend, and if we don't, then we have to look out for the potential for things like this to be operating as some sort of a descending triangle, or indeed the potential for this thing in the longer term to kind of play out with this. So for oscillations around about these areas, as I get indigestion coming on real bad there all of a sudden. I don't think I have anything on Binance anymore. Make your move quickly. What's the chat? Binance. Oh, yes. Suspected US accounts, get the effing hell off Binance now. Pachow, quick, there you go. Big word of advice to everybody who's watching along but not reading along with the chit chat. That was Harmony 1 that we just took a look at there now. And I will take a look at cover as well for you, buddy, and then I'll say goodbye, unless somebody else comes along with super chat, because it's time to say goodbye. What do you think out of these two here? Would you rather look at OKX or Poloniex? We'll go Poloniex first. See what it looks like. 4 hour time frame. Let's go to OKX and just see what it looks like. Okay, you know, not a ton more information, but there's something. I suppose, in terms of what we just did on Harmony 1's not going to be possible here, buddy. 15-minute chart. Right, you know, I know nothing about this. This is trending towards the top side. Very, very, very good. In its entire life, is it fair to say it's trending towards the top side? No, not really, because as you can see here, for the first, you know, hour of its life, it trended towards the downside, but subsequently in the last sort of 12 hours, it's been doing really, really well. What can I say? This looks good enough, right? It looks good enough. This is what I can say. It looks good enough, right? This is early days. Ain't nobody in the world know where we're going just now. What we have is a couple of wicks. Would this be better on log? for this one. I think it might be. What we have is a few wicks here. The criteria that I use, by the way, for looking at things on log is asking about the stretch up the way in terms of price action, with regards to the deviation in terms of the shape of what you might find as a typical pattern. Essentially was just what I was looking at there. Of course, there's many different ways of looking at this, but whatever. Movements beyond any given time, this moving area of resistance, are going to be very positive, with the strong potential for a retest so that we can check how things are getting along and put our fingers back on the pulse of the trend. Likewise, movements towards the downside could also have a retest. Warning, therefore, for anybody who's looking at doing any sort of counter trend moves there, if we do test outside of these areas, because we could come back and test them again before continuing with that deviation. If we want to, we can talk about things like how we so often go in and test moving averages after they're created, I suppose. We have the 200 simple moving average just showing up here for the very first time on the 5-minute time frame here in the last half an hour or so. So maybe we want to come in and test that. What about on the 1-minute time frame? Well, we can see that the moving average here is very much has been tested. You know, these things get created. You think, will we test them? Yes, we will at some point. We generally speaking do along the way. So looking at that picture up the way, as we spoke about in yesterday's video for a different coin, we can do the same sort of thing here and say that, look, we've just created these moving averages. Maybe we test them towards the downside, such as this 18-period moving exponential moving average here. You know, maybe that could happen. And looking up the way at the 1 hour time frame, see it's just created over here. So if we did get a movement down the way, that would be negative. Now, overall, what we can expect, as well as these things are created, if we do continue to trend towards the top side, is that they will be positioned below us, in which case you're always going to have that sense of, will there be a pullback? And that's natural, not because moving averages which didn't exist now suddenly exist, no, but because of the price action which has never been there before and has never existed is now having to do it. People talk about this phrase price discovery, and when they say it, they generally are talking about people who are saying it wrongly, which is the majority, are generally talking about all-time highs and stuff like that, whereas price discovery is actually a constant mechanism, and never more so can you see that as being the case when you're completely surrounded by the vacuum of uncharted territory on a chart in a nascent asset. So there's always going to be a degree of price discovery where we need to establish levels of support and resistance, no matter how finicky and fickle they turn out to be in the long run, with movements either way. So right now I would say we're trending towards the top side. That's very good. Movements back down below our significant lows are bad, but you know, 2 or 3 movements in one direction at the minute could be considered to be a start of a trend one way or the other. So far, the first one through the door in terms of putting their foot in the door is going to maybe be the upside, if on the 4 hour and above timeframes we can see us taking out our opening price. Now, we've not gone above our opening price, we have wicked up there, and in general sense, of course, that's a fairly bearish aspect, in the sense that everybody who, you know, mistakenly bought it here has been able to unload it in profit so far, and maybe that liquidity doesn't exist up there. And let me just wrap up the technical analysis on this one by jumping back over to Harmony 1 for a split second to put that into perspective for you, not just for you 3000 Trin, but for all Rocky Outcropticians in the world. Go back up to the 24-hour time frame, go back to the very, very start of this thing's life, and you know, started off here, moved up the way, came back down, and then we got to this point, we saw inflection, but then when we moved past it, it was significant. Now, this wasn't even the actual opening price, as far as I remember. If we go down towards, like, well, it would have been, because you can see the open on there. Yeah. You can see the open. Gosh, you can see the opening price here on the 12-hour time frame quite distinctly down here at this area, and then breaking that was obviously bad. And what we've done since then is never been able to really recover it. Now, we did challenge the area again over here at this point on the 7th of December 2019, and then we did challenge the area again over here on the 17th of August 2020, but we see that that offers up a significant area for us, and it's kind of maybe worth bearing that in mind with nascent assets. So if I just go back to where we were a second ago and point out where we are right now in the 4-hour time frame, I would say that that would be my biggest note of caution to you. Now, of course, if we do go beyond that, I would also say that we could come back and retest it again, and that would be reasonable. I'd have to click that a billion times. I think you get the point. Cool. K-Doc, your way off. Thanks very much, guys and gals. I'm off. Good laugh tonight. Have a good one. It says K-Doc. See you later, matey. And we're also seeing that we probably have some other people wanting to tune out too as well. So how about I say to everybody in the next few minutes a cheerio and run through the names. So if anybody wants to get in there, maybe compare it to YFI, same limited supply aspect. Cool. Cheers, mate. It's quality that. It's nice. I want everybody else here to see that little interaction that happened there now. Of course, is what we see is somebody who perfectly understands along, adding a bit of context and helping everybody else in there with regards to kind of, getting the context of what we're talking about here, that beautiful feedback mechanism that can happen whenever you're doing things live together. So appreciated to you, 3000 Trin, with regards to that one. And he says maybe compare it to YFI USD, I suppose, is what, if I could type properly, I would have typed in there. Let's try that again. YFI USD T. Right, yeah, that was in terms of you're looking at towards the top side in terms of price discovery. Yes, what I interpreted you wrongly there was saying that we came back to our opening prices. Of course we didn't, but we did need to, of course, establish some degree of support. Now you can see that this thing, which ultimately, after this point of the lows down there at sub 10k, 7k again, we then shot up all the way back up to 30k, more or less, looking at tripling its price, 300% increase. You could say here is a fairly arbitrary point for it to have kind of turned around at, potentially, well, almost certainly. That am I actually is that actually even true? I mean, did it just do it from a Fibonacci point of view? It came in and did an 886 Fibonacci retracement. Well, that's not that, 886, that happens all the time. We talk about it in every show. So it wasn't that arbitrary, but that we went there, and I think that was the point, when the fear set in when you went past the 618 and everything else on the way down. And then we had to establish that as support, and then of course up here towards our highs, there's significant areas, doesn't really matter. That's all good. See, that's what I see. Right. Okay, thank you to everybody for tuning in today. Every single last one of you is an absolute superstar, and I really do appreciate it. And what we did in today's episode was we started off looking at Bitcoin, then we went on to look at Ethereum, did Chainlink and Tezos thereafter. We also did XRP. We took a look at One, and we took a look at Cover, and we talked about various different things along the way with regards to, methodologies for trading, entries and exits, everything like that as well. And we had a good laugh together. So I'm going to say some shout outs to people who've helped support the channel. The first one has to go to 3000 Trin, of course, who contributed for the wee look that we just did there at One and Cover. And I also want to give a big shout out to everybody who helped contribute to the making of the advert, a little special snippet that we did in this episode. If you just skip to the end, then that's something we did earlier on for a laugh. What we have here in the chat, though, are people tuning out just now as we say goodnight to each other, and I'm going to do that here and say cheerio. But be sure to hit subscribe and join us for the next live video that we do, and keep an eye out on the channel for videos that I post from time to time, static ones and educational ones. So anyway, good night to 3000 Trin, Susan, Trade Spotting and K-Doc, who were the last commenters in the box there. We have Zoner, who was putting out the teary face laugh at Susan Warrender's comment earlier on in there, and I want to say good night to you too. Thanks for tuning back in again, my friend. We also see as well earlier on, we had RT Pyle coming back in, who was in it for the long haul, lots of time and money invested in the last several years, talking about some coin there, which is cool to see. We also had NCP Chesney. I'm going to think that he's a police constable with that name. And then we also had K-Doc. I've already got a mention. Oh, there's doubling up on the mentions there. And we had What in the World, which is funny because I like the way that the Rad Brad says that when he's playing games, if you ever watched him on YouTube. And we had Peter Hewer in here earlier on, welcoming us to the channel. Richard as well, who is my namesake, who came along. Navin Ethan, who came along to share the ruffles with us when we were joking. We had Who Let the Bulls Out as well, tuning in for the chat, and Horn Hunter across Canada, Susan Warrender, Bruno, and Infinite. And we also had a couple of bots come along impersonating MM Crypto and myself, which is cool. We also had Etienne, my French friend, tuning in, and to anybody whose name I missed, such as perhaps Peter Hewer, who was the first person to message, I apologise for having left you out of the summary. But I have to say as well that every single last one of you who isn't even mentioned, who's just tuned in to watch this after the fact, is a hero. I'd love to see your comments down below if you do want to leave one. It helps the video grow, and a like will always go a long way. I hope you enjoy seeing this advert that I'm about to, cut up out of this video and publish. If you see it over the next couple of days, let me know. Thanks, guys. I'm going to put up a wee end screen and say when my next stream is, but essentially, that's it for good night. For tonight. Good night. Huh. I really need to go and get some Gaviscon. I'll just check out. I'll put that chicken back on screen. The be back soon chicken. Where is she? Where is she? Where is the be back soon chicken? There we go. Cool. So catch y'all later.